Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Good. Good. I think we're almost there. I think we got like maybe another minute. How are people managing like coming in for the second class with the parking? Is it doing okay? Not too bad? Oh, get rid of them? Oh, okay. I'll be sure to make that announcement, Pat. I'll be sure to let them know that they need to get out of here. All right. Well, welcome. All right. We're a little happier today because we have some sunshine, but it's still cold. It is still cold. It's winter? Oh, it's windy. Yes, it is windy. And it does feel like winter. I know. When I walked yesterday, I had my big mittens on, and I one of the best gifts I ever bought myself are these little electric hand warmers. They're just about that big, and they slide inside your mitten. They tether to your wrist. Oh. Had those on yesterday, too. I don't like cold hands. All right. Cold hands, warm heart. Thank you. That's nice. Cold hands, sore hands. Yeah, that's true. So can everybody just check their phones and watches and various beeping devices, making sure we got everything? And I have my little bell. This one goes a long time. It's not quite the same. John had to ring the cowbell twice earlier. They were feisty this morning. So he rang it twice. Oh, did I? Is that what the scuttlebutt was out there? Oh. So people are talking. I see. Okay. Oh. I'm just going to have to switch it up then. All right. So have your feet on the floor and sit up nice and close to the front edge of your chair. And feel your sitting bones there. So are you even? Are you sitting evenly on your sitting bones? Sometimes when we sit down, the glutes, those are the big muscles in your butt, they can get a little stuck underneath one or both sitting bones. So if you reach underneath and kind of move the glutes out of the way, you'll feel the sitting bones a little bit better, right? Yeah, that's what we're calling it now. That's what we're calling it. And then just notice your chin and your neck. Are you sitting kind of like this? Can you kind of bring your chin back a little bit? Let your shoulders come back and down a little bit. Relax your jaw. Relax your face, right? So we kind of hold a lot of tension in our face, by the way, and I don't think we're even aware of it. And then if it's okay, close your eyes and tap into your breath. So you're just going to notice the way your body's breathing. You don't have to change anything. We're just kind of observing how the body is breathing right now. Air moving in, moving out. Now the allergy season has already started for some folks. So if you're one of those folks and you're feeling like your sinuses or you're not able to breathe so well, if you need to use your mouth as kind of an auxiliary, that happens. But just kind of notice as you're breathing in and out, can you do that smoothly and evenly through your nostrils, or do you need to have a little help with your mouth? And then see if you can deepen your breath. So as you inhale, bring it all the way down into the bottoms of your lungs. Feel your belly expand. And as you exhale, pull your belly in a little bit. As you pull your belly in a little bit, you'll feel that breath, that exhalation a little more complete. So as you breathe in, you're breathing deep into your lungs and your belly is expanding. And as you breathe out, you're pulling your navel back toward your spine. You're pulling your belly in a little bit. So we just have a more complete exhalation. And the next time you inhale, I'm going to have you just hold your breath. Keep holding your breath. And then let it out with a little sigh. Okay, let your eyes open. Let's roll the shoulders a bit here. So just rolling the shoulders up and back and around, or up and forward and around. Notice if both shoulders are moving kind of the same this morning, or if you're a little more restricted in one side or the other. Maybe it's noisy where you are. And then roll the other way. That's a little different. And then let's take just the right and we'll just roll the right. You can make that nice and big. Kind of getting that up and around. See if you can feel it in the back as well as the top of the shoulder and the front of the shoulder. And then reverse that direction as well. We're just going up and around. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's go the other side. So rolling that other shoulder. Good. And then reverse. Excellent. Okay. So we're going to take the arms down to the sides with the palms facing forward. And we're going to rotate from the fingers all the way to the shoulder joint. So you're just going to rotate the arms around so your palms are facing out. And then rotate your arms the other way so your palms are facing up. So that's it. See if you can feel that movement in the shoulder joint. Right? So we've got the arm bone. Your upper arm bone is called your humerus. It's one big bone and it goes into your shoulder joint. And what we're doing now is kind of rotating that that joint, that upper arm bone. Good. And now, along with rotating the arms, let's see if we can get a little bit of movement into the shoulders themselves. So when you rotate your hands forward and around, see if you can round through the shoulders. So you're bringing the shoulders forward a little. And then when you roll back, you're opening the chest, right? So we're rolling forward, and that's coming all the way up into the shoulder tops, into the top of the chest, into the top of the back. Good. Keep going. Keep rolling. Now, if you want to challenge your arms a little bit, you can bring them up slightly. Don't bring them any higher than 90 degrees. So you want to have them up just a little bit. The reason for keeping them below 90 degrees is that when your arm gets up this high, there's less space in the joint for this kind of rotation, and you could irritate the tendons there. Some of you might have heard the term rotator cuff, right? The rotator cuff is actually 4 tendons from your shoulder. So we don't want to irritate that rotator cuff. So how about the next time you have your arms in one direction, we're just going to hold there and really exaggerate that for a breath or two, right? So remember the shoulders are rolled forward as well if you're in the forward position. They're rolled back if you're in the backward position. And then go the other way. And again, we're really kind of exaggerating that a little bit here. Holding and breathing. And the breathing is the most important part, of course. And then we're going to relax that. Just let everything come down. Okay, we're going to take the right arm, and all we're going to do with the right arm is we're going to bring it to the left and then to the right, and it's going to be palm down to the left, palm up to the right. Nice and slow, and go as far to the right as you can. So palm down to the left, palm up to the right, and keep breathing. So you're doing your very best Vanna White, right? Yeah, so we're going all the way back. So notice, as the arm comes forward, you feel maybe a little bit of a stretch on the back side of the shoulder into like the shoulder blade area, the upper back. And as the arm comes back, you notice you're getting more of a stretch through the front of the shoulder into the chest a little bit here. You can have your arm low if it's causing a little too much discomfort with your arm raised. And again, keep the arm lower than 90 degrees. So don't have it way up here. You want to have it down a little bit. Okay. One more time. Excellent. And then bring that hand back down. We'll go over to the left. So same thing, right? No matter where you start. So the palm comes down as the arm goes to the right across the body, and the palm comes up when your arm goes behind you. And we're breathing in and breathing out. And the more you reach through your fingers and lengthen that arm, the more of a stretch you'll feel. Good. Couple more. Great. And last one. Good. And back to the lap. Okay, so we're going to do the same movement, but now we're going to add a little bit of a twist here with the neck and the head. So we're getting more of a stretch in through the shoulder, more of a stretch in through the neck. So the next time we're going to take the right arm, we're going to bring it all the way out to the right and behind. And as your arm is out to the right, you're going to turn your head to the left. So your arm is behind you on the right, your right arm, and your head is moving to the left. And then when you take your arm over to the left, you're going to bring your head to the right. Okay? So keep moving, nice and slow. So your hand is going in the opposite direction than your head. If you have trouble with left and right like I do, just remember wherever your hand is, your head's going the opposite way. And you want to move slowly because we don't want to create any kind of dizziness here. And also when you get to the end, when you've got your arm as far out, say to the right as it can go, go as far as you can with your head in the other direction. Good. And keep breathing. That's really the most important thing, is that your breath stays smooth. Everybody looks like they're doing great here. How about one more time? A lot of movement here, and then hand comes back to the lap. Good. So we're going to go back to the left side. So same thing, when that arm comes out to the left, you're going to turn your head to the right. And when your arm goes to the right, you're turning your head to the left. And you're trying to get as far to the end of your range as you can with your arm and with your head. Right? So again, just kind of keeping that, make sure your hand is lower than your shoulder. If you look out and your hand is up higher than your shoulder, I just want you to bring it down a little bit. We want to give those rotator cuff tendons a little bit of space in there. Good. Couple more. And last one. Great, and then bring that back. Let's roll those shoulders a couple of times again. And now we'll get a little bit of flexion and extension in the elbow. So we're just going to extend the arms down as best you can and bring your fingers right down toward the floor. So spread your fingers nice and wide. So active hands, right? The hands are nice and active. And you're going to keep the hands active as you come up and tap your shoulders. So you're keeping your hands nice and active as you're touching your shoulders. Good. So you can feel that movement in the elbow joint. You can feel it up into, maybe you're feeling it in the upper arm, maybe you're feeling it in the lower arm. Good. And then let's take the hands, the next time they come up here, we're going to hold here, we're going to go out to the side and back. So you can keep your elbows nice and low, that's fine. Whoops, sorry about that. You can blame the other class, they move their chairs closer. Good. Just a couple more. All right, and then when you tap your shoulders, we're going to lift those elbows up nice and high and sort of rotate your shoulders forward a little bit, because what we're going to do now, as we extend, we're going to bring the palms of the hands behind and then come back. All right? So it's like this little, I always think of like a Halloween skeleton. A what? A marionette. Oh yeah, marionette, right. Yeah, I picture the Halloween skeletons. You know how they have like the little brads on all the joints? You can do all these fun things with them. I don't know, probably had one when I was a kid, just remembering that. So a couple more. Good, and then the next time your hands are on your shoulders, we're going to hold here, we're going to bring those elbows back behind you. So squeeze back behind you, and we're going to do the same thing with the arms, so we're extending and bending. And keep your upper arms lifted back there, right? So the movement is back behind you. So it's like this, right? And breathe. And again, that's really the most important thing, is the breathing. Now, if you got your neck craned forward, see if you can relax your neck and your jaw a little bit. And just a couple more. Excellent. And then lower your hands back down to your lap. Take a breath. Whew. All right, let's do a yes movement with the head. So drop the chin toward the chest and then lift up. And as you lift up, see if you can keep the back of your neck long. That might sound counterintuitive, but sometimes when we lift the chin up, we just kind of let the back of the head drop toward the shoulders. And now we're trying to keep everything sort of lifted. As you bring your chin down, see if you can get your chin closer to that little notch between your collarbones. Good. Couple more. Great. And then coming back to that center position, now we're going to take the right ear over to the left shoulder. So as you take your right ear to, did I say, you can't just, did I? I heard it when I said it, and I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. That would be. Let's try bringing the right ear to the right shoulder. That would be the exorcist. Okay, so with that ear close to the shoulder, let's take the left arm and bring it off. And we're going to actively reach those fingers toward the floor and really activate all the muscles in the arm all the way up. You're reaching as best you can. And the more you reach toward the floor, the more you get that ear close to the shoulder, right? So you should feel a stretch in here through this left side. Now breathing in and breathing out, what we're going to do, you keep reaching through that arm, you're going to raise your left arm to about 45 degrees. That's all, 45. So I see a lot of people up here. You're going to get to 45 and then lower back down. Breathing in and breathing out. Keep that ear on the shoulder. We're just going up to 45 and then down. Up to 45 and then down. And the next time that you're down, you're going to hold there and breathe a little bit more. Keep reaching down, down, down. Down, down, down. Relax that arm, relax your head, bring it back to center. Take a moment and notice if your left side feels longer than your right side. You might feel like you're sitting a little crooked. And then we're going to take the left ear to the left shoulder. Take your right hand, reach down toward the floor. So you're facing forward. You're not looking down with your eyes. You're still kind of facing forward. And you're reaching out strongly through those right fingers, and that right arm is working. Breathing in and breathing out. Try and get your left ear closer to your left shoulder. And then once again, just coming to 45 degrees, so it's not very high. And down and breathe. Good. And you continue to reach and breathe. Good. Couple more. Great. And the next time your arm is down, you're going to hold it there. Reach out through your fingers. Reach, reach, reach. Keep reaching the ear to the shoulder, so you're holding in this position to try and get a little more length in there. Good, and then relax. Bring your hand back to your lap. Excellent. Let's roll the shoulders just a couple more times, so it really kind of woken up the shoulders a little bit here. So now we're going to scoot back, so you're sitting into the back of your chair. So you've got that support in the back of your chair. And we're going to do some movement now for the shoulders and the arms. All we're going to do is lift the arms in a nice wide V and lean back a little bit, but don't let your head lift, okay? So we're not looking up toward the ceiling. We're keeping the head level. We're squeezing the shoulder blades into the back of the chair, or if you're taller, you're above the back of the chair. And then the hands come down. So that's the whole movement here. If that doesn't work for you, you can do one arm. If you can't do a big Y, do a little Y, right? Okay. Or a V. Did I say a V? A Y. It's what's that? W. We'll do a W, but we're doing the V's first, or the Y's first. So inhale and bring your arms up into that nice wide V or Y, and then all the way down. I guess it's a V if we're only looking at the arms, but it's a Y if we look at the whole body, right? Yeah. Well, let's go with a Y. I like that. Okay, so we're leaning back a little bit. Great. Breathing in and breathing out whenever that feels okay for you, right? One more time, up and down. Excellent. Okay, and now we're going to do the W's, right? So the W is with your elbows bent, and we come back like this, like a W, right? And then forward. That can be a little more challenging, especially if you're working with a shoulder issue. If you want to stick with the Y, you can stick with the Y. There we go. So breathing in. When you come back, really squeeze back there a little bit more. And keep breathing. Good. About one more time. Excellent. Okay, let's just sort of roll the shoulders a little bit here. And then we're going to move on. We're going to give the shoulders and the upper body a little bit of a break, and we'll move on to the legs. So since we're sitting back here, let's just extend the right leg, engage the muscles in your thigh nice and strong, and then lower down. Same thing on the other side. So we're just engaging muscles there and then lowering down. So we're just going from side to side. Now, some people might have their foot or their toes on the floor when they come down. That's great. Some people might not touch the floor, and that's okay too. So we're just going from side to side, and as you get up into a full extension here, I want you to really pause for a moment and give those muscles a good squeeze there in that upper thigh. Right? So breathe in, breathe out. Great. Okay, and the next time that we raise the right leg, we're going to hold there. So you get that right leg raised, and we're going to point and flex the foot. So we're pointing and flexing, right? So feel that movement at the ankle. Now when you point, you might feel like a tightness in through the front of the lower leg or into the shin or the ankle. You might feel it on the top of the foot. Okay, and then let's try the other side. So we're just going to point and flex and breathe. And notice, I hear lots of ankle noises out there. So ankles are saying, yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So you might notice one side you can point farther or flex farther than the other. Yeah, isn't that interesting, huh? That impacts how we walk. It impacts how we balance. Okay, we're going to bring that foot back down. So now going back to the right, as you lift up, you're going to keep your toes reaching toward your shin, or toes reaching toward the ceiling, right? So that's a flexed position. And then what we're going to do is we're going to press, actually, why don't you relax for a moment, because I think it's better if I explain this. So keeping the foot in this position, we're going to press through this big toe knuckle, so it's like that kind of a movement. Does that make sense? So we're pushing out through that. So let's give that a try together. So once again, let's take the right leg, extend it up, nice strong muscles here, and you're leaning into the back of your chair for support. Keep your toes reached toward the ceiling, and then push out through that big toe knuckle. So it's almost like your foot kind of angles out to the little toe side a little bit. Does that make sense to people? Is the connection happening between your brain and your foot? Okay. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get that foot to brain connection going if you haven't done it before. So we're just kind of doing this. Okay, and then let's just circle at the ankle a couple of times. Excellent. And then lower that foot back down. Let's go the other side. So same thing, we're pressing out through the heel and the toes stay lifted toward the shin, and we're pushing out through that big toe. So we're pushing out through the big toe. It's like there's a button right here, and you're trying to push that button with the knuckle of your big toe. And are you breathing? Nope. Okay. Might want to give that a try. All right. And then let's circle around. And circle the other way. Excellent. And then lower that down. Good. Let's come forward. Okay. So as we come forward, now we've been focusing on tightening up these muscles in the front of the thigh, which are your quadriceps muscles, and they are responsible for straightening your knee, right? And so now we're going to focus on the muscles in the back of the thigh, which are responsible for bending your knee, right? So your hamstring muscles. So we're going to bend the knee and bring the heel like you could kick the bottom of your chair. So you're squeezing the muscles here in the back of that thigh, and then we'll just kind of extend and bend. And we're really focusing on the bend part, right? So when you come under here, we're pausing and like really tightening those muscles and squeezing them. This is really important work if you've had a knee injury or knee surgery, to get those hamstring muscles working. We often focus so much on the quadriceps because the kneecap is right there in the quadriceps, and we sometimes neglect to really work on the hamstring muscles. How about one more time? Good. And then we're going to bring that foot to the floor, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So bend like you could kick the bottom of the chair and extend. Good. And we're just bending and extending. Great. Couple more of these. All right. And then back down. Okay. So now we're going to do a little bit of a march in place. You can have your hands on the chair for support. What I want you to really focus on is that when you're lifting a leg, you're not bringing your body forward at the same time. So for me, if I have my hands here, that just reminds me, it kind of keeps me in integrity, because sometimes I don't know that I'm doing this, but if my hands are here, I'm not able to do it. So we're just going to go nice and slow. We're going to lift one knee and lower it down, and lift the other knee and lower it down, and breathe as you're doing this. So we're just going from side to side. We're marching softly, right? So it's like you're marching, but you want to be as quiet as you can. So when you put that foot on the floor, it's a nice, easy drop down to the floor. And keep breathing as you're doing this. Engage your belly muscles a little bit. That's helpful as well. Okay, and next time you lift one leg up, instead of going straight up, we're going to go out and back and down. Same thing on the other side. So out, back, and down. Good. Up, out, back, and down. Great. Excellent. One more time. Excellent. All right. Let's scoot over to the side of your chair, the right side of your chair a little bit here. Walk your right foot out a little bit away from your left, and we're just going to let that knee come in and then let the knee come out. So letting the knee come in and out. So as we do this, if when the knee comes in, if you kind of roll onto the big toe side of your foot, you're getting more of a stretch in through the hip. And as you come out the other way, if you lift the inside of your foot, you're going to get a little bit more range in the hip as well. So we're just kind of pivoting from the inside edge of the foot to the outside edge of the foot. Good. All right. And then let's take that knee, when it comes kind of to this neutral position, we're going to walk the foot out and walk the foot back. And again, just walking it out and walking it back. And noticing now it's not just the hip that's getting a little bit of work, but it's your knee, it's your ankle, it's all the tissue in between. And the next time you have that foot out to the side, let's do this. Let's see if we can extend the leg and keep the toes on the floor, and then bend the knee and bring it back and keep your heel on the floor. So as you slide your foot out, only go out as far as you can and keep the toes on the floor. If you can get out farther but your toes lift, you want to come in a little. I want your toes on the floor. And then when you slide back in, you might be able to bring this in more, but you see how my heel is lifted? I want to keep my heel on the floor, so I won't come in as far. And what we're really working on now is the range of movement in the ankle. That's what I'm focusing on. So we're just going out and in, right? So notice, in particular, when you bring your foot in, how far you can come. Most of us are very limited in this kind of movement, in this geometric shape of our lower leg. Most of us have some limitation there. So I'm just asking you to notice that. And one more time, out and in. Good. And then we're going to extend and turn the sole of the foot to the floor with the toes facing me. And see if you can get the outside of your foot, the little toe side of your foot on the floor, and then release it and relax a little bit. And then again, you're pushing, so you're straightening your knee. So the sole of the foot stays on the floor. And then you're releasing. And one more time, we're going to hold here, right? So as we hold here, we're going to lean into the left side and raise your right arm up overhead. And then come back, right? So that's the movement here. We're just getting a little more length in through that right side and back. Now don't bend at the waist too much so that you're kind of collapsing your left shoulder toward the chair. You want to keep yourself nice and long as you come over here. And nice breaths in and out. One more time. How's that? That looks great, everybody. And then all the way back. Good. Let's give that knee a little bend. We're going to walk the foot in, come back to the center of your chair and cross your right leg on top of your left. So just crossing the right leg on top of the left. So we just did a bunch of work out here. We're going to take the left hand to the outside of the right knee, and then we're just going to take the right hand to the back and give a little twist out to the right, and then release. Right? And a little twist out to the right, and breathe and release. And one more time, a little twist out to the right, and then release. Excellent. Can you slide your ankle on top of your knee? Okay. Good. So if you've got if this is just not possible for you to do, you can always cross at the ankle. That is perfectly acceptable. So what we're going to do now, since we've got the leg in this other position, we're going to come forward like we're trying to bring the belly onto the shin and then come back. So try not to drop your head and round your spine, so you're still looking forward. This is a movement that's happening from the hip joints themselves, right? So it's not about your spine as much as it is about the hip joints. And we're breathing in and breathing out. How about one more time forward and see if you can hang out here a little bit. Now, if your left foot, if the toes of your left foot are clawing the ground, see if you can relax your toes. You're just balancing your weight on the tripod on that left foot. And you're breathing in and breathing out. And then if you want a little more, you can take your right hand and reach forward to the ground like you're trying to pick up something in front of you. Right? So there's something on the ground there and you're trying to get it. You're trying to reach it. And then slowly come all the way up. Excellent. Let's uncross that leg, straighten your legs, point your toes, point your feet, and then notice, is your right leg longer than your left leg? Wow, mine's like about an inch longer. That's crazy. All right, we're going to bend the knees, and let's come over to the side a little bit here. We're going to just take the left leg a little bit away from the right leg, and then we're just letting that knee come in and out a bit. So just warming up that ball and socket joint. So if you remember your hip, what makes up your hip is your leg bone. This big bone in the top of your leg is called your femur. And it's got a nice big it's kind of a misshapen ball at the top, but it is somewhat of a ball. And then your pelvis is like the socket. So as we're doing this, we're getting all this rotation in that joint. And it's super important to keep mobility in the hip joints, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. Okay. All right, and then coming back to sort of center, we're going to walk the foot out and walk the foot back. So a few times. So you can adjust where you're sitting on your chair to make it a little more stable for yourself. So going out and going back in, and now we've got some work in the ankle, and some work in the knee, and some work in the lower leg. And the next time you have that leg out, we're going to hold it there, and we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side, which is to slide the foot out, keeping the toes on the floor, and then slide the foot back, keeping the heel on the floor, okay? So it doesn't matter how far out you come, you just want to make sure that your toes stay on the floor. And when you come back, you want to make sure your heel stays on the floor. So keep sliding. I got a sticky foot over here, so let me use my sock. So it's easier with a sock on your foot. So you're sliding back. And again, when you come in, don't lift your heel. So keep the heel on the floor. Don't let the heel lift up. So you might be noticing a difference between the right and left. And for a lot of us, there is a pretty good difference. And it's mostly in that position. So the next time you have your leg in, hold it there. It's in this position, right? With when the top of the foot is closer to the shin, right? So the angle here between the top of your foot and your shin. This is when we move in that in this particular way. This is the top of your foot is called the dorsum. I always think of like a dorsal fin on a shark or a whale, right? So you get the dorsal fin. So when the dorsum comes close to the lower leg, that's called dorsiflexion. And a lot of us are limited in dorsiflexion. And why is that important? Who cares, right? Who cares? So dorsiflexion, you need to be able to do this to get your top of your foot to the front of your leg in order to go downstairs. Right? If you don't have that range, it's going to make it difficult for you to go downstairs. You're going to put more stress on your knee, on your hip. You might be unsteady going down the stairs. You might have to turn a little bit to go down the stairs. So this is something you can work on, is just sliding the foot out and in to start to increase that range of dorsiflexion. Okay, so the next time you're out here, you're going to hold and you're going to turn your foot so that the toes are facing me. And then your right hand is on the chair. And we're going to lean to the right. And if you want, you can bring your left arm up, only if that works. And then come back down. So that's it. So try doing this with some breath. Oh, I love doing this without the leg, but I love doing this first thing in the morning, sitting on the bed. Right? So before you get out of bed, just place one hand on the mattress, lean over, get a good stretch there. Good. Couple more. Excellent. How about one more time? Great. All the way up and all the way back. Awesome. Let's bend that knee. We're going to slide that foot back around. Come back to the center, and we're going to cross the left leg on top of the right. You're going to take your right hand to the outside of your left leg, and then take your left hand to the chair and see if you can twist to the left, and then release. So again, we're just going to come into this nice little twist and release. And one more time, a nice little twist and release. Good. All right, so now we're going to slide the left ankle on top of the right knee. Ankle on ankle works fine. If you don't have this available to you, that's okay. We're going to lengthen through the spine so you're nice and tall, and you're going to hinge from your hips as you come forward like you're trying to bring your belly onto your shin, and then come back up. So that's the whole movement. So don't drop your head, don't round your shoulders. This is all about what's happening in the hip. Now, some of you might be noticing that it's different on this side than it was on the other side, yeah? Yeah. It's amazing how that happens. So a couple more as we come forward and back. And you might notice, like throughout your day, how you choose to sit, right? So the next time you come forward, hang out here. So in other words, when you're sitting down, do you always cross your legs the same way? Like, is it more comfortable to cross your right over your left or your left over your right? or your ankle. Or if you're one of the people who, like when you sit on your couch or on a stool, do you tuck one leg under, right? Yeah, and it's always the same leg, right? Because if you tried to tuck the other one under, it would break in two, because it's just not designed to do that. So let's reach that left hand forward to the floor. So we all have patterns. We all have movement patterns that we prefer, that work for us. And they can differ to some degree. Okay, and then we're going to come all the way back up. Let's extend, and let's check out the length of the legs. Are they the same? Awesome. Okay, we're going to come back to kind of that starting position. So we may have a difference, like especially as we get older, right? So when you're little, when you're a little person, your body is more water than dense tissue, and when you're an older person, your body is more dense tissue than water. So you're going to have less ability to do like some really bendy things unless you happen to be a very bendy person. But you have the same patterns. Right? So you have the same patterns. If you tend to cross your leg one way or you tuck one leg under when you're sitting, it's always the same one from the time you're a little person to the time you're a big person. That doesn't change. Okay, so let's go to the hands and work the palms and the wrists a little bit, because we didn't do this on the upper body and I don't know why. So we're just going to start out with the hands together. You're just going to push the hands in one direction and then in the other direction. And it's just happening at the wrist. You don't have to lift your elbows. You don't have to lift your shoulders, excuse me. We're just trying to get the hands going in one direction and the other. Now, as you're doing this, again, we're not lifting the elbows. It's just the wrists that are going. Do you notice that you can go farther in one direction than the other? Isn't that kind of interesting, right? All right, and then let's take that and we're just going to make some circles. Right? And does it feel like a circle or does it feel like a triangle? Feels like a fish swimming. Yeah. Oh, you're doing a nice one there. I like that. Look at how she's doing this. I love that. And can you swim the other way now? Ah. That's harder, right? Wow. I can't swim when I go that way. I can only swim in one direction. All right, and then let's shake that out. So that's just to show that we have, just like we do in the ankles, we've got the same kind of range in the wrists that might be a little bit more restricted on one side than the other. And it's usually in this position when the top of the hand, or we call it the back of the hand, right, colloquially. So that when the back of the hand is reaching toward the arm, you have less movement there than when you're going in this direction, yeah? Yeah. It's how our bones are arranged, it's how our tissues are arranged. Same thing with the ankles, we just have more in one direction than the other. Okay, so let's go down to the feet. Get your tripods set. You all know your tripods by now, right? Your heels, your big toe knuckle, and your little toe knuckle. And we're just going to lift and lower the toes. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Pretty good, huh? Okay, let's keep all the littles down. We're going to lift and lower just the bigs. That's a hard one. Yeah, that's a hard one. So we're lifting and lowering just the bigs, and we're breathing as we're doing it. And then keep the bigs down and lift and lower the littles. Okay. Can't do it, huh? I know. All right. And then we're just going to kind of relax that a little bit. All right. So let's lift all the toes up. We're going to spread them out nice and wide. So keep the tripods on the floor. That means don't lift the knuckles. So keep your tripods on the floor. We're lifting just the toes. Spread them out nice and wide. And then lower them down as they're spread out nice and wide. And then relax. Right? So that's what we're doing. So I'm lifting the toes and I'm spreading them wide. I'm lowering the toes down and then relaxing. Got it? So lift, spread the toes really wide, lower them down nice and wide, and then relax. Good, everybody's doing very well with this. Okay. So the next time that you lower your toes down, so that you're lifting them up, you're spreading them wide, you're lowering them down and keeping them spread nice and wide, I want you to see if you can move your big toes closer to one another. See if you can get your big toes a little closer to each other. So, or another way to look at it is they're farther away from your little toes, right? So the right big toe is moving away from the right little toes. The left big toe is moving away from the little toes. Like they're trying to crawl across the floor toward one another. Not bringing your feet together, by the way. Should have said that. Yeah. Yeah, no doing this. Yeah. You want to keep your feet far enough apart. This is a bit of a challenge, right? It is, yeah. And relax everything. Whew. Take a breath. Wow. Okay, so let's see if we can keep the little toes on the floor. And we're going to lift the bigs, move the bigs toward one another, and down. Got that? And relax. Shall I say it again? Okay. Keep all the littles down. Lift the bigs. Move the bigs toward one another and down. And relax. It's not happening? Yeah. Yeah, it's not happening, right? Yes, it can be not happening because our toes maybe aren't used to doing this kind of work, right? So let's try that one more time. Let's lift the bigs. Move them toward one another and then down. And then relax. So this is super, this is a great exercise to do, especially if you have bunions or you have a baby bunion. This is a bunion buster. This is strengthening the muscles that are weak, and it's stretching the muscles that are tight that can contribute to that bunion. So, what exactly is a bunion? So a bunion forms, so if you think about your foot, so where you can see your toes, right? And from where you can see your toes to like the top of your ankle are some bones, some very long bones. I wish I had my foot model, but I don't. They're very long bones. They're called metatarsals. Yeah, that's what you fractured. So your metatarsals are these long bones inside your foot here. It's like that, right? So what happens in a bunion is, this is this metatarsal here. It goes to the inside. It goes like that. And when that bone starts to sway to the inside, the toe goes toward the other toes, right? So you've got two things going on at the same time. You've got this first ray, this first metatarsal that moves away from the rest of the foot, and then you've got the toe that's going back toward the other toes. So what the bunion is that joint. You now have, instead of the joint being like this, so here's my toe, and it's on top here, instead of that, you've got a joint like that. So now you've got sort of the inside of the joint that's facing the other foot. So that's what a bunion is. Yeah. So part of what creates the bunion, well, I shouldn't say that. Exercises that we can do to help with a bunion, not necessarily correct the bunion if it's severe enough, but to help with the pain of the bunion, is to strengthen the muscles here on the inside of the arch, and then you've got muscles that go here across. So we want to strengthen these muscles, and that's one of the exercises. So let's try that again. Let's lift the bigs, bring them in toward one another, and down. About just one more time. Does that make more sense now that we talked about the anatomy? Sometimes it does, right? When you It doesn't help you move it any better, right? It's just, yeah, it just makes more sense. That's all. Yeah, that's a very good point. Okay. All right. Yes, and they're working really hard. Yeah, because that is you've got a muscle that goes from the big toe knuckle down into the inside of your heel right here, right? And it's that muscle in particular. It's called, you want to know what it's called? It's called your abductor hallucis. That will be on the final exam. So your abductor hallucis, we're strengthening that. It's not just strengthening the arch, but it's strengthening this kind of bunion here. People with bunions tend to have what looks like a fallen arch, right? So when you have a bunion, instead of walking with your feet forward like this, you tend to walk and you collapse into that, so that arch falls a little bit more, and it's that muscle right in there. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Let's raise all the toes, spread them out nice and wide, and place them down nice and wide. Okay, and now see if you can get your big toes to walk toward one another and your baby toes to walk away from each other. I am crazy. Yes, you're right. I am crazy. In a really good way. Absolutely. So you're trying to get your big toes toward one another and your baby toes away from one another. You're trying to do this with your toes, right? You're trying to do that with your toes. Jazz feet. You can do it with your hands all day, right? All day. If you put your hands in tight leather mittens for 40, 50, 60, 70 years, you wouldn't be able to do that. You would be as restricted in your hands as you are in your feet, because you've had tight leather mittens on your feet for as long as you've been wearing shoes, right? Unless, of course, you're now in a natural shoe. Okay, so release that. You guys already released it. I'm up here with my toes spread. Let's try that one more time. Spread them nice and wide and lower them down. Bigs are walking toward each other. Babies are walking away from each other. Those feet are looking like little baby feet, right? That's what baby feet look like, right? You've got grandchildren, great-grandchildren. You see their little feet, right? Yeah. And then when they find their feet, it's like the most amazing thing. Yes. And they want to go to the mouth. Yeah, right. Yeah, because the sensory organs in your mouth and the sensory organs in your feet, they're so prolific, like more than any other part of your body. So what babies are literally doing when they're trying to get their foot in their mouth, they're trying to close the circuit. They're like, this is such a cool thing, right? And when I put that in my mouth, I'm getting like this big hit of what the heck is going on. So kind of cool. Wish we had that kind of wonder still, right? That kind of wonder is just like, wow, that's amazing. And flexibility. Okay, one more thing we're going to do here now that we've done all that strengthening. We're going to Barbie foot it out. So on the right, coming up into the Barbie foot, unless you can't. Coming up onto the top of your toes, nice and gentle, right? So you don't want to push down on the top of the toes, and then over onto the top of the foot and a nice little stretch there. So I was talking about going down the stairs and having good dorsiflexion to go down the stairs. So we need to do, this is part of what I love to do, all of this. Let's go back to the Barbie foot, because we need to stretch out and then we need to strengthen as well. We're going to come into the Barbie foot on the left, come up onto the top of the toes, then over the top of the foot. Good. Back up. Underneath. Great. And then put that foot back down on the floor. Okay, so make yourself comfortable. If you want to put your shoes back on or put your socks back on, you can take a moment here. I'll give everybody a moment to do that if they want. And when you've made yourself comfortable, you're just going to sit back, relax, close your eyes. And so when I look out, as if I see everybody's eyes closed, I know that we're ready to go. So tune into your breath. Notice the way air is moving in and out. And see if you can feel all the different parts of your body, from your fingers to your toes, your wrists, your ankles, your knees, elbows, shoulders, hips. We worked all parts of the body today. Working the muscles and the connective tissues, getting range of movement in the joints. And know that your body is built for movement. Any opportunity you have to move, even if it's just to wiggle around a little bit, any opportunity you have to move. So helpful for all the tissues in your body. And your tissues are grateful for that movement. As you breathe in, breathe deep into your lungs and feel your belly expand. And as you breathe out, pull your navel back toward your spine. Breathing in and breathing out. And take in one more nice full deep breath. Hold it for a moment. And then let it out with a sigh. You can let your eyes open. And thank you everybody for coming today. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. All right.